In half an hour on BBC One, a visit to Wembley Arena for tonight's action in the Horse of the Year show. But first, the action centres on food and cooking as an enthusiast rides his hobby horse. Floyd on fish.
Dear gastronauts, eating, cooking and fishing are all arts. Stanhope Forbes was an artist who loved fish, but he would find no joy in painting or eating the frozen rectangles, the unidentified frying objects that pass as fish today. I am in some of the richest fishing grounds of Europe, where over 50 varieties of fish are landed, from lobster to John Dory and red mullet to skate. And yet we, the boring British, look no further than cod and plaice. What we reject our European neighbours relish, and revel in interesting dishes like bouillabaisse and squid, washed down with buckets of wine. But this is hard and sometimes dangerous work. I feel we neither understand or appreciate the lot of these fellows. As a nation, we certainly don't care too much for the catch. I don't think, on the other hand, I have the stamina to be a fisherman. Out in all weathers, hell of white water, waves with teeth like bananas, never sure of the catch or the wages, and waiting for the net to be raised, which spells success or failure. And now the moment of truth. After hours of tedious trawling and bored anticipation, what will the net reveal? A glittering fishy feast, or the garbage of the ocean bed spewed over the deck, which won't even justify the cost of the diesel? Looks disappointing, but I'll find something. I am absolutely starving. You see, I wasn't invited to the captain's table. Ah, there's a likely-looking monkfish. Reminds me a bit of my old art master. I'm absolutely famished. Hours sitting on this blinking boat waiting for the fish to come up, but we've got some, so I'm going to cook it. And you couldn't get the monkfish we've got here any fresher in the world. It's only 5 minutes old, 10 minutes at the absolute outside. And of course, we've got this sophisticated equipment here, a little camping gas stove and the whole boat rocking all over the place. But I've got the monkfish going in there, little pieces of bacon, which somebody happily brought along with them. Some fresh herbs which we must have picked off the mast, unless somebody brought them with us. I'm not quite sure how that happened. And a bay leaf, a bit of fresh thyme, and a drop of wine. Can you see all right that I've got this bit of wine going into the fish now? Nothing should change just because we're on the boat. There's no reason why we shouldn't continue to have wonderful fun like we always do in the kitchen, really. So, the sauce is reduced sufficiently now for us to add the cream, which I'm going to do. And the cream is going to make this thing absolutely splendid, as long as the rolling of the boat doesn't cause us a great deal of hassle. Stir the cream into the wine and the shallots. Lovely colours coming through there a bit, actually, now. Plenty of cream, bubbling away to thicken up. It's very, very difficult. I'd hate to think what it'd be like doing this in a force 9. This is about a force 0, I should think. Doesn't count at all. So, I'm virtually ready. I'm taking the fish out. I have to use my fingers and pray that I don't drop the whole lot over everything. I've got the fish onto the plate. I now want just finally to make the sauce really superb, as if we were in one of the best restaurants in the world. Thicken this delicious sauce with an egg yolk to get a really unctuous and creamy, delicious golden sauce. Can I show you that golden sauce? I do think that's really rather good. I'm going to pour it now over the fish. And I think, I hope you don't mind me saying this, but that is a really elegant piece of food for a 4-knot gale with the freshest fish in the world that you could ever hope to get, no ingredients whatsoever, no help, and everything falling all over the place. In fact, I'm just going to taste a little bit of it myself. As I say it myself, it is actually wonderful. Wonderful. Life on the ocean wave and a home on the foaming deep. Actually, it's good to be on land, whizzing along these bluebell lanes to meet Sonia Stevenson at her famous restaurant near Tavistock. As a kid, I used to pick bluebells, try to appease an angry mother as I dawdled home well after dusk and late. What a setting! And Sonia Stevenson, the only woman to cook at Maxim's in Paris. And she asked me to bring a hake. I'd have thought she would have wanted something extravagant. You know, lobsters and truffles. Still, I bought her some wine. Although the bluebells never did win over my mum.
Hello. How do you do?
Sonia,
Nice to
Keith
meet
Floyd,
you.
lovely to see you.
Nice you come this way. You should have come to lunch because then they'd have had
I would have very much liked to, but actually I was sort of fishing this morning, you see. I had to get this hake, because I know you're rather fond of hake.
Yes.
And this is a locally landed one. Incidentally, I wanted to ask you, why a hake and not something really extravagant?
Oh, it's a lovely fish with a texture all of its own and a personality all of its own. I mean, it's just a marvellous fish that isn't used nearly enough.
I totally agree with that, I must agree. However, also got a bottle of English wine from Devon, which I hope we can drink in a little while.
With pleasure.
But it's probably a bit hot from the boot of the car, because we've had a long journey this morning.
We'll put it on ice.
Excellent.
And we'll enjoy it in a minute or two.
Grand.
Do come in.
Great. It's really good to see you. The last time I saw you was on the Tim Rice show, Friday night and Saturday morning.
Yes.
When you were trying to get the English people to taste really curious pieces of food, which they were rather frightened of doing, weren't they? So, Sonia, it is an absolute delight to be in your kitchen. And before we do anything else, I thought that we should try a drop of this Devon English wine, which I honestly haven't tried. Love to know what you think about it. Have you drunk a lot of English wine?
Some English wine. We always have a couple of wines on the
You're very
wine
good
list.
health, by
We're
the
very
way.
good.
Thanks so much for having me,
Oh, it
too.
smells lovely.
Do you drink in the kitchen while you're working?
No.
Never,
no.
never?
Oh, afterwards. Afterwards. We have our barrel of beer out at the back, and a couple of glasses are given to us every evening, and then my chef goes and gets me a pint, and we down a pint.
You don't have a pint?
Yes, but not during work. No,
Not
it's absolutely
ever, never.
fatal. Absolutely fatal.
I'm very pleased about that. I'm afraid I'm not quite as religious myself. I do find that a pint of water every 4 or 5 minutes with some salt in it is very good in a hot kitchen.
Do you?
Yes, I do. And I drink a huge amount of it and save the whiskey till very much later. Anyway, look,
Yes.
I'm chattering far too much. You ought to be working away here because
Well,
a bit of cooking has to be done.
well, I think what I'm going to do actually is to cut it straight through the middle, and then we can see the various.
Okay, that's a beautiful looking fish, actually,
It's
isn't
lovely,
it? Very
pale
firm
pink
good.
and moist. Now, this is the bit which has got its where its guts have been taken out. Now, if we cut down further, we want to cut it into a good-sized cutlet, enough for a main helping.
You see, of course, they should buy fish with their heads on, because then they can cut the heads off and make a stock.
That's right,
and
yes.
make a little fish soup, a little bit of vermicelli or something like that. And it doesn't need to be an extravagant Provençal soup or anything like that. But,
no. You can also tell by looking at his eyeballs how fresh he is too, which is
right,
quite useful.
which is a useful
So I'll
thing.
get through this bit. Right, now what we're going to do is to make our base that we're going to sit the fish on and cook in the oven. So if you'd like to unwrap that one.
Right.
And I'll take this.
What's that? That's some chopped onions.
That's
there.
chopped
shallots or
No,
onions?
that actually is onion.
That's onion.
And that's a little bit of garlic. Garlic optional, I love garlic.
Really?
It's very good for rheumatism.
Do you know, I was pouring some butter into a pan on a TV programme once using my fingers, and they had thousands of letters saying, "Oh, he uses his fingers," and I often try to get people to understand that there isn't much of a better machine except for actually slicing things. Do you agree with that?
I entirely agree, yes.
No.
I mean, fingers were made long before spoons and people didn't die of them eating it.
Now, you want this butter paper for in a minute, don't you?
Yes,
to
we
go
do.
over the top
to
of
the fish, that's right.
Fish. So we'll drop that
So we
over
put
there.
that, a bit of garlic in as much as you like or as little as you like. Bit of this, which is the...
Well, this is the chopped onion, isn't it? If
That's
you throw
just
it
the
in,
chopped
yeah,
onion.
they can still see, I think, is
I
the
should think that's enough.
thing there.
Right, now this is lemon thyme.
Do you grow that in the,
yes.
in the garden here?
This is ours. You can use the ordinary dried thyme, but this has a more delicate flavour. And this whole dish has a lemony aura to it, really.
Okay.
So we put some of that in, and then there's a bay leaf, dry bay leaf.
Dry bay leaf. Is that also from the estate, as it were?
Yes, that's right. And some peppercorns. Now we've put that on the stove.
Can I do that? I've always
please.
wanted to cook in a first-class restaurant.
That's right, we centred that one.
On the hot bit? Should it
Yes,
be on the
please.
hot bit?
Yes, that's right. Just take that bit
I
of...
just have a little glass.
Right.
Right.
Now that is going to simmer. We want to sweat the onion. We don't want to brown it.
Fine.
If you brown it, you spoil the taste
That's
of
right.
this
And
dish.
you want to melt it down, for some of you who don't know what sweating
Sweating.
means. Melt it.
Right. Now we get this bit ready. We want a bit of salt.
Salt. Salt.
Yeah.
Come along, where's the salt? You're a commis chef. Quickly. You can't wait all day.
It's yours. It's behind us here.
Well,
And the
yeah,
pepper.
well,
That's right. A little bit
that's
of
better.
salt.
Can I put some on?
Thank you. And the pepper.
And the pepper.
You pepper.
I'll pepper.
Uh,
Oh, see?
there's no pepper.
Yes, there is. There's plenty.
Is there enough?
On both sides?
Okay. Yes. Yes.
Oh.
Both sides. Always.
Remember that, on both sides. That's pepper. Now that
Why
was-
does the pepper pot always be empty when you want it, Richard?
Well-
You know, thanks so much.
and a little salt on this side as well.
Right.
Good, eh?
Now, spoon, and if you would...
that going too
stir
far?
it. Well, we have to be careful that it doesn't burn.
I made this particular mistake by putting too much butter in. Sonia's saying there's too much butter. But with the vast amount of experience she has and the capability I have to keep talking while she's disguising any mistakes we might have made, the thing's still going to be wonderful. So don't worry. Right, what's next?
Right, now we're going to put this in the dish. Are you going to do it?
Well, yes, you tell me.
Right.
Then they can all admire...
Oven-proof dish.
Oven-proof dish, oven-proof fingers. So that's going in. The butter
That's right.
and the melted or the sweated onions, the lemon thyme grown on the premises, and a dried bay leaf probably from the premises as well.
That's right. And into that,
Into that,
you're going to put the
put
fish.
the fish. And shall I turn it over
That's a good
like
idea.
that?
Yes, fine.
So,
Jolly good idea,
so they're
actually.
both covered in the thing. Sorry about our fingers, but we haven't got any
That's
better
right.
tools than those.
Now, a lemon.
A lemon, cut in half.
Yes, into 2 rings.
Into
we
2
want
rings.
2 rings off.
With the
Pith and everything.
with the
Lovely.
pith and everything on top.
One. That's right. Another
Getting
one.
some nice colours now, aren't we? With
Yes.
the green herbs and the yellow butter and the orange and the slightly pink-fleshed fish.
1 or 2 peppercorns on top. And we've
1 or
forgotten
2
the nutmeg.
Ah,
Nutmeg.
I didn't forget it, ma'am. You didn't tell me to put it in.
I forgot the nutmeg.
You see, it's what customers do to us, isn't it?
That's right.
There we are. Oh, I'm
No,
to do
you're
this,
doing-
aren't I? I'm doing it. But you're a driving woman. No question about that. What's she like to work for, Richard? Is she as nice to you as she is to me? She is good.
You'd better say that, hadn't you? Right, now on top of that, the butter paper.
Butter paper. Now, this is a dish you wouldn't ever cook with margarine, would you?
Oh, no.
I mean, for people at
No, no.
home, you can't economise on this kind of
No,
food.
no, because the butter, part of the butter is the sauce. So this is all
Absolutely.
makes the whole dish gorgeous.
We've taken a cheap fish anyway, so we can tell our viewers, or the viewer, Mum, if you're watching, don't forget, real butter, because our only extravagance here is butter, isn't it?
Yes.
Fish
yes.
is cheap. and
Herbs are cheap.
Herbs are cheap, and we
That's
cover that
right.
like that.
And in it goes.
Right, now I have the honour of opening the oven, madam. Sort of, now we're in Devon, what I really want to do, there isn't a puddle. I tell you what I've always wanted to do, all my life, is a sort of a water rally thing.
Oh, no!
So you can step into the oven, over the puddle, and put the dish in. I think that
There
makes
we
it
are.
really splendid. Excellent.
Now again, not too hot an oven, because
Not too
if you
hot.
have too hot an oven, you're going to brown those onions, and we want to really avoid browning.
What, you know, for people at home who get really paranoid about gas mark
Oh.
6 and oven 450,
No, I
what
think
do we call
about
not too hot?
4.
About 4. Okay.
3, 4, yes, that's about it. Right.
Have a little drink. if you want,
That's a
you
good
know.
idea. Yes.
Otherwise we
This
get...
is something I never do.
Ah, dear gastronauts, feeling envious? You see, I like people who love food, And that's me and Sonia, and that fish, and this setting. And it's all mine for a mouth-watering moment. Tuck into your unidentified frying objects, but bring me my hake. Totally different. Saturdays is what I call the medallion mafia. They have Yves Saint Laurent shirts. Are we doing anything yet?
Yeah.
Oh, nobody told me. I didn't know what was happening. No.
Right. Are you going to dish up?
Well, I will,
Or shall we
actually.
help ourselves?
Well, let's help ourselves, because it'd be better that way. I was saying on Saturday nights you get the sort of the medallion mafia, who've got these Yves Saint Laurent shirts open to the waist, white suits and great medals on them. And you have, they require a different kind of eating from the sort of serious and family kind of food that we've got here. I mean, you couldn't call this haute cuisine by any means, but you could call it very, very authentic, delicious beautiful cooking, couldn't you? I'm fascinated by the fact, and I'm very pleased to see, that you're not garnishing this. I mean, the garnish here, there is a garnish in the way, the bay leaves and the herbs and things are really nice. But it annoys me intensely when people, with a beautiful dish of very simple food, they then insist on sticking tomato pieces and rings of cucumber. Does it annoy you? I mean...
Yes. If you've got a hidden tomato in the sauce, by all means, you can encourage them to think tomato with your nice, beautiful rose.
Indeed,
but if there's no tomato at all, then just leave the tomatoes out of the decoration.
That's right. However, this is, needs to be tasted, really, doesn't it? Isn't it good to have some spankingly fresh fish, too?
I was just thinking that when I cut it, it held together for a minute. It's beautiful.
There's something about this sunshiny day today, about the colour of the sauce. It's very pale yellow, and the pinkness, the whiteness of the fish seems to match your character, to my mind. Very open and friendly and loving. I mean, you've been working all afternoon, all lunchtime, all morning. You're still smiling, still happy. I mean, you obviously love the business, but...
The food encourages one, you see, to feel... it gives me tremendous pleasure playing with food. I used to do mud. I used to play with mud and make mud pies when I was very small. I don't know if this is a good introduction to being a cook, but still, it's the texture, it's the playing with food, which I love.
Yeah.
And this is, again, one of the things about fish. You get so many different textures. I mean, a Dover sole is so utterly different
Utterly different to this, as monkfish, for example.
And many more varieties than you have with meat. You tend to have your beef, your lamb and your chicken.
That's right.
And fish have infinite varieties.
Look at that, what quality. 21 and a quarter stone a cod, how much am I bid? Yeah, we don't see any more. We got 'em good. We got 'em good, and what do you say?
These faces of fish merchants, wise and yet cunning, they could trade in diamonds, but they chose the fresh silver jewels of the sea, landed here irrespective of weather, wages or demand. And of course they do it for love and out of a sense of tradition. It can't be the money. The prices are low for the fisherman. It's the diner in smart French restaurants who pays and the bloated middleman who wins. Fred Brimacombe doesn't seem to mind about money. He just loves fish. Fred, you're working down here in the fish market. You're getting all this beautiful fish in.
Yeah.
But why does the housewife only end up with a bit of cod or a bit of plaice? Why isn't she...
Well, I think personally, if you ask any man in the street, right away, what sort of species of fish they can think of, and they'll come up with three: cod, plaice and haddock. Because we're not educated in this part of the world,
But with all the fish around us, I mean, all this fish we've had, we've seen here, monkfish, turbot, halibut, hake.
Most of it gets exported. Most of it goes to France. You see, you've got a Roman Catholic country, France and Italy, and they take all the fish from us, whatever they can, because they're educated in the ways of fish.
Yeah.
I mean, those cod's heads I just knocked off some cod's heads. Makes wonderful fish soup.
Yeah.
I mean, a cod's head down here, they can come down and pick them up and take them away.
For nothing,
Yeah.
almost,
Yeah, we only dump them in the bin,
Yeah.
or else it goes for crab bait.
But this octopus, you see, nobody's caught this. Why not?
Oh, well, I just found that one in with some small cuttlefish that I've been
see?
packing away for London.
But I mean, this could be cut up and deep fried, couldn't it be? Absolutely
Beautiful,
delicious.
yeah.
A lovely snack.
Yeah, you've got to bout it first, like to tenderise it.
That's right, yeah.
But all the tent that goes in that are lovely, especially when they're pickled, you know.
You
after
see,
you pick them.
the French are very discerning. They buy our best fish. So do the Chinese, too. They know all about
Oh,
it,
yeah.
don't they?
Yeah, they buy large cuttlefish and they dry them out. And you eat the cuttlefish in with their curry stuff that they send away, that they give you,
Yeah.
and their takeaways.
That's
And
wonderful.
it's very sweet, very nice.
I mean, how many people know, for instance, you chuck this on a charcoal grill, for instance. It's a beautiful fish. I mean, for that in a French restaurant, you'd pay £8 or £9 for that as a main course, and you wouldn't blink. They'd be so pleased to do it, you know.
Well, when I was at sea landing fish here, we couldn't get more than about 10 pence a pound for that if we were lucky.
I mean, it's ridiculous.
For this here, now it's £2.30 a pound today on today's market.
£2.30 a pound
No,
today.
wait, £2.30.
But it's not going to England, though, is it? It's going abroad, isn't it?
Well, they
mainly?
go abroad, yeah. They'll go abroad.
Mainly to France.
And
Nice.
that'll make 3 times the money in France.
And 3 times again, that's
Yeah,
right.
well.
I tell you what we need, Fred, really.
Yeah.
We need hundreds of you all over the place with your big cauldrons of soup.
Yeah, having
a
a go.
charcoal grill with the red mullet and frying a bit of octopus,
Yeah.
having a good time. It's been
Yeah.
really great talking to you.
Thanks very much.
Cheered us up a lot.
I'll get one more in there if I can. Like, you know, we've got farmers in charge of the fishing industry. You tell me what a farmer knows about a fishing trawler.
Not a lot.
Right.
Even cauldrons of Fred's fish head soup on every corner couldn't relieve the monotony of this concrete jungle. After the charming Barbican, this is not exactly appetizing. Cooks build better buildings out of margarine. But there is an oasis of civilization here. It's Chinese, of course. Kai Ching spoke no English, and my Mandarin leaves a little to be desired, but no language is necessary to enjoy his dexterous culinary genius. Delicate lemon sole, squid, which for once, at least, won't be deep-fried in batter. Spring onions, fresh ginger, giant prawns, more expensive than lobster, and succulent scallops straight from the Barbican. But first, the expert's way of preparing squid, not to be recommended for you at home if you value your fingers. Because of that very delicate cutting, the squid cooks quickly in the intense heat of the water. And a wok isn't just used for stir-frying, it does every job except roasting in the Chinese kitchen. But a wok at home, on an electric ring or without the huge fires of a Chinese stove, is less efficient, and you could be better off with a frying pan. Now the squid, strained, is transferred for seconds only into very hot oil. The whole cooking process is over. It now remains to add the flavourings. These are a delicate mixture of spring onion, carrot, garlic, ginger, monosodium glutamate, sherry, soy sauce, and a little stock. Notice he used only one ladle for the entire operation. The squid is tossed into this colourful mixture and is cooked in the time it takes you to watch. But the speed of Kai Ching's hands belie the years of dedicated experience he's taken to master his art. And art it is, my Oriental gastronauts. Don't believe the old adage, God sent us food, the devil sent us the cooks. That squid was good, very good. Much better than the greasy deep-fried rings we reluctantly enjoy in Benidorm. For further enlightenment, I spoke to Kai Ching's brother, Kai Lun, in his elegant dining room. Do you know, after the heat of the kitchen, watching Kai Ching cook with such devastating speed, it's really good to kind of relax here and sit back and enjoy ourselves a bit.
Indeed, indeed. But this one is different. You cook yourself.
Right.
Rather than my brother cook for you. I would rather have you have a go in there.
So, in fact, for the perfidious Albion, you've given me this kind of trawling net.
Yes, indeed. And what you do is you put the fish in down there and dip it in there.
Can I
and
bring
count
those
1,
over
2,
closer to
3.
me?
And then it's cooked. What you do is put it in net. Not too much.
Not too much.
No.
Put it in my net.
Right.
This is a bit like a sort of Far Eastern Swiss fondue, only we're cooking in water here,
That's
not
right.
in oil, but it's
That's right.
it's a great
Yeah.
thing.
Also involving the chopsticks.
And involving the chopsticks
Also, this
too.
will require lots of some seasoning.
Excellent.
For you.
I've counted 1, 2, 3 there to get my fish
Yeah,
cooked.
you've been loading too much fish. So,
Great.
what you do now? Dip into that.
Dip it into there from
Yeah.
my trawler
That's right.
and just plunge it in and have a little taste. Very difficult.
That's right. All these cookings are done in a matter of minutes or seconds rather than the long boil.
Right.
And I believe that will consist and the whole beautiful flavor of the natural food preserved.
Do they appreciate that? Do the customers appreciate that?
Not everyone, not everyone. I believe that some of the connoisseurs, they really do. They really do. And the majority is, unfortunately, the lack of knowledge of how to.
Of course, one of the things about eating such delicate fish as we are eating now is to be able to use these chopsticks, which, to my way of thinking, you can pick up little succulent morsels and eat them and have a good time. But a lot of people can't, won't, are too ignorant to even take the trouble to use them, aren't they? And they want to use knives and forks and things, which spoils it for them. Well, how do you feel about that?
Now, there are lots of people want to try it. They are scared about it. But I truly believe the chopsticks is the only method to picking up the food. Myself strongly against the metals, like cutleries. If you don't believe what I said, put 1 teaspoon into your mouth for 1 minute or 2. What does it taste? Metal.
Metal.
Even tea should be served in the porcelain.
Or indeed even our very splendid wine.
Wine
out of
should
this
be in the porcelain
Yeah.
or glasses.
I mean, if you just put down chopsticks to people in the restaurant, and they say, what's that? I can't use that. What will you say to them? Do you help them?
The people walking into my restaurant are making the use of chopsticks, and I'm not making any difficulty for them. I want them to enjoy my food.
Sure. And the
So,
chopstick
the
is the way to
chopstick is
get
the
them
only
to
way to
enjoy it.
That's right. Actually, correct with.
On Thursday on BBC Two, Joan Armour Trading in concert.
But the weeks and the months and the tears pass by, and my eyes couldn't stand the strain of that promised love. Sing me another love song, but this time with a little dedication. Sing it, sing it, sing it, sing it. You know that's what I like.
Joan Armour Trading in concert, recorded at the National Exhibition Centre, Birmingham, on Thursday at 10:10 here on BBC Two. Now on to it's back to the comedy.
Once in every lifetime.